This is Prentice Johnson from Cypher Productions Incorporated, and today we're going to talk about good parenting. Now, when I speak about parenting, I'm going to have some idiots. I know for a fact that some idiots are going to tell me that somebody with no kids should never talk about parenting. I know for a fact that some idiots are going to tell me that I can't see what it is about parenting if I've never had a child. I know for a fact that some of these idiots are going to want to tell me that I have no right. I have no right to speak about parenting if I'm not a parent. But these same people can just as easily say to someone that is a parent that every child is different and no one can stop a child from doing what a child is going to do. So now that I've knocked out all the idiots and the idiot's way of thinking, I want to get a grip or a stronghold on this particular situation, parenting. Now, it doesn't matter where you grow up or where you decide to have your family. It doesn't matter if you're in the urban communities, suburban communities, or if you're in the country paving the way for new cities. One of our first problems that I want to discuss is single parenting. Now, this, I know for a fact that when people are ridiculed, they need an outlet. And so I'm going to give you an outlet. I can only talk about averages. I can only talk about the things that I'm actually seeing. So the fact that this is an average gives you your automatic excuse to say that I'm not talking about you specifically. So that's your outlet. That is your comfort spot. I know for a fact that everyone's going to want an excuse or an outlet to say that I'm not talking about them. But I want to say that 90% of single parents, I think within single parenting, 90% of the single parents are the actual problem. I think that they have a difficult time, especially if they couldn't keep working, they couldn't continue their education, and that's to say that they couldn't continue to read, they couldn't continue to write, they couldn't just continue to absorb knowledge on a continuous basis. There is an issue. A lot of them take the lazy frame of mind and blame it on the children. That's to say that I can't do this or that because the child's here, instead of looking for those other outlets, babysitters, people that they can bring close into their reality to be 100% certain that they continue to do what's right for those children. Paying your bills on time, all those things that are 100% important to make sure that those kids remain stable. These are things that the kids don't have to worry about yet. But I do believe that the children should actually start thinking about these things early. And it's not enough just to behave. I think these things need to be talked about over and over and over again. I think that a lot of the problems, the reason in most cases that these parents are single is because there's been a lack of communication somewhere. I think that partner, and mostly I'm addressing single women right now, but because normally the child ends up with the parent, the most incoherent, the least logical, the lesser of the ability, and in the worst case of scenarios, the worst parent. It's a lack of communication. I think the reason why the parent is single is because there was a lack of communication. That parent was unable to communicate, could not clearly state what was going on in that person's feelings. And it's not just one, and in a lot of cases it's the other as well. No reason to listen to what another individual is talking about in a lot of situations. And that's the frame of mind that we're combating in this situation right now. Good parenting, lack of communication. I stress communication continuously because communication it seems to be missing. A lot of people have it in their minds, they just won't say nothing. I just won't say nothing. Just behave, just act. You just watch me. To me, that's no good. I don't want to just watch somebody continuously. Nobody behaves that well. Nobody behaves that good where I should just watch them. There's a lot of things that you can learn from watching another individual from afar. There's a lot of things that you can learn from learning in different homes and watching other people behave. But at the same time, there must be communication. Kids are afraid to ask certain questions. There's questions that need to be answered on a continuous basis. Yet, they're not coming up with these questions. They're being left to learn these things by themselves. I think that communication is so important that we should talk to a child logically. Same way that we would communicate with an adult, I believe that we should communicate with our children. If a child has a question, that child should be comfortable enough to ask you that question. And you should be comfortable enough to speak to that child in a comprehensive manner so that that child understands. No differently than you would speak to an adult that was asking the same question. The reason is that I want the children, I myself, so I can only come from my own perspective. I want the child to be smarter than its parents when it grows up. The way we choose to communicate is going to dictate whether or not that child is smarter than its parents when it grows up. Now, you can keep in mind in this particular factor that that child has an entire family to look up to, which means uncles, aunts, cousins, mother, father, grandparents, greats. All of this communication can flow through a child and be interpreted properly as the child is growing up. But this is simple. Seeing that we want the child to be smarter than us, meaning we don't want the child to fall behind. We don't want the child to fall behind in technology. There's certain things that need to be addressed properly. We're talking about sex. We're talking about people. We're talking about friends and girlfriends, boyfriends. We're talking about government, society, and community. These things need to be addressed properly. What that means is continuously. These need to be conversations with the adult and the child. We learn about these things in school. We only learn small increments of the topic. We don't learn to get really technical into some of these thought processes that are written by individuals, mind you. We don't control by ourselves what is being taught in these schools. Some people think it's enough just to join a PTA so the child sees that you care. But literally, if it's not instilled in the child to communicate with you at a young age, that child is not going to want to have that closeness and grow up communicating with you as an adult. Because not only is that child not proud of himself, but that child is not proud of the way that he or she is actually growing up. So why talk to you about it? Why not go and talk to somebody he or she doesn't even know? I think one of the most important things that we need to talk about with our child is time. Time management. The ability to foresee conclusion in time. How you need to think, schedule, plan. All these things that seem to be missing from the thought of the single parent. And we can get past single parenting as well and go right into two parents. Because a two-parent home has a better grasp for the reality of the situation because they're two. Not to say that good children can't come from single-parent homes. That's definitely not what we want to say here. What we want to say is we need to have a grip on this situation. We need to be 100% sure that people understand that this lack of communication is coming from inside the home. A teacher can only do so many things. You see, when there's a communication with two parents, I see a lot of the times that the mother and the father have separate opinions for the child. Now, my issue in this